Odyssey's going back to school, and we've got all the supplies you need, like A+ exclusive music stations and podcasts to help you or your student excel. Wake up and get the school day started with Acoustic Sunrise, the best mix of acoustic pop. Hit the books with Classical Odyssey, passionate classical music to help you focus while you study. Listen to essential school podcasts like Grammar Girl's Quick and Dirty Tips for Better Writing, and be inspired with TED Talks Daily. Get back to school with new exclusive stations, plus all your favorite local radio stations and podcasts on Odyssey.
There was stories of these girls that would leave his house and they would have to swim out in the lake and get away from them. He has a secret room in his house. He put me in there, she said. I don't want anybody to die anymore. I don't want anybody else to die. I'm looking for Ashley.
Season 3 of Up and Vanished is available right now. Listen for free on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's Howard Simon and Jeremy White.
Fires left, caught by Dawson Knox out of midfield on the run. Gets past one man, trying to get past another man. Pulls him down, and he is finally knocked out of bounds. Dawson Knox knocking down Bengals along the way.
Howard Simon.
I'm not even watching the game that day. I'm that confident.
Wow.
I'm just going to write my column before 1 o'clock.
Jeremy White.
Think of how good I am at firing GMs. You know? Think of how quickly I would have guys hired and fired in 3 minutes.
Oh,
like,
my
what,
goodness.
What kind of move was that? What kind of trade was that? You're fired.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Happy Tuesday. Thanks for spending a little quality time with us this morning. We've been talking, of course, Bills football. What are your top stories? What is the top story through the first 2 games for you, Bills fans? 803-0550 to join us, 888-550-2550. And if there's something else you want to bring up, questions, comments, opinions, that's what we're here for. We talked about the Manning cast a little bit. Maybe you caught some of it last night. I did get a chance to watch it for the first time. Watched the first half and thought it's a lot of fun. I think they've done a fantastic job on that. Anyway, that too. We will get to we have another stat of the day we're going to get to, because anytime, we do a stat of the day on a fairly regular basis here, we try and come up with various stat of the year nominees. So anytime you see a headline where it says Tom Brady will soon own one of the most amazing stats in NFL history, despite our general lack of love for Mr. Brady, well, we're going to click on it and see, what the heck is this stat? One of the most amazing in history? So, bonus stat of the day, still brought to you by Cows of Buffalo. Get moving with Cows of Buffalo. Container on wheels mobile storage. No moo? You want me to just do it? Rent a cow today. Call 592-3343. What are you shaking your head at me for?
Hey, it's not your fault. It's stupid technology.
I got you. All right, I'm ditching my phone and going back to a pager after today. So if you guys,
I'll
back
get you
my
Stone
pager.
tablets.
Stone tablets? Hey, I can relate. I remember what those were like. So Doug Farrar from USA Today Touchdown Wire, he's the guy who had this story about one of the most amazing stats in NFL history. And I thought, the first stat I'm going to give you, I thought is what he was referring to. But it isn't. So he writes about touchdown passes. Okay, Tom Brady's thrown 9 touchdown passes in the first 2 games of the season, by the way. It's not bad. Including the postseason, per Pro Football Reference, Tom Brady has now thrown 154 touchdown passes in his 40s. Stat: no other quarterback in pro football history, age 40 and after, has thrown anywhere near that many touchdowns. He's got 154. The guy who's second is Drew Brees with 57. I thought, wow, that is an amazing stat.
Yep.
How many? Favre, 41. Moon, 37. Testaverde, 24 are the top 5. So I thought, that's it. That's one of the most amazing stats. I mean, who in their 40s and beyond is going to throw for more than 154 touchdown passes? The stat is, you want to do it?
No, you got it.
Okay. Tom Brady threw 167 touchdown passes in his 20s. As long as he stays healthy, he will throw more touchdown passes in his 40s than he did in his 20s. And this just in his 20s, he was a fair to good quarterback. He's 13 touchdowns away from doing this. So again, barring an injury, I mean, he's kind of, I think he's half joking, half serious, talking about playing till he's 50. Barring an injury, he'll break that this season, and he will throw more touchdown passes in his age 40s than he would in his 20s.
It's pretty
Not
good.
supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Not supposed to happen. You can play into your 40s. You can still throw touchdowns in your 40s. Drew Brees, Brett Favre. But you're not supposed to have more TD passes in that decade than you would in your 20s. So, Mr. Brady, if I had a cap, you're wearing a cap. You can tip it. A tip of the cap to you.
So I saw the Pro Football Focus or Pro Football Talk story that Brady is going to break the passing record against the Patriots.
By the way, Stat of the Year nominee?
Yeah, I think it's Stat of the Year
Brayden,
worthy.
you want,
for sure.
you want this for Stat of the Year nominee?
Yes,
Okay,
please,
go ahead.
send it along. More touchdown passes in his 40s and his 20s. Once he does it, because he's got to do it
13
first.
away.
So ProFootballTalk.com, the headline was Brady almost certain to break the passing record against the Patriots.
Right.
And when I saw that headline, I thought, like, wow, they're making a pretty bold prediction that he's going to throw for, 600 yards against the Patriots? And it never occurred to me that they meant the all-time passing record for passing yards.
Correct.
But let's talk about the other one first.
Yes, sir.
What if Brady goes into Bruce Arians and says, I want to set the record for most passing yards in a game against the Patriots on Sunday?
Okay.
Bruce Arians says to him, sounds great. Right?
I wanted to look up. I don't have the number. Give me a second. Tom Brady.
His highest output?
What is his? Because he's not. I've got the list of the single game. I need Tom Brady's single game high. The record, by the way, to your point about the passing record, the most yards thrown for by a quarterback in a single game in NFL history is 554. Norm Van Brocklin in 1951, 554. The highest in terms of recent history is Matt Schaub, 527 in 2012. So I was thinking, okay, Jeremy, I'll play along with your question here. And what's Brady's single game high? This only goes through the top 50, and that's Dan Marino's the cutoff point with 470 yards. I don't see Brady on this list. So I'm guessing he threw for over 400 somewhere. Oh, wait, here he is. I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. He got 505 against the Eagles. Oh, my God. That was in the Super Bowl?
I've got 517 on Monday Night Football that he got once.
You're right. 505 against the Eagles, February 4th, 2018. He threw for 505?
Yeah, in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl? I do not remember him topping that.
Yep,
so 517. He would need 38 more yards than that.
By the way, stat of the day for 500-yard passers, I think the last 3 500-yard passers have all come in the losing effort.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember that correctly.
Couple things. You want to know his career high in rushing yards?
31. In a game?
Yeah.
Really?
He had 31.
All right. That's not bad, actually.
Yeah.
So you think, do you think they have that conversation?
You
think Brady goes to Arians that week and says, we are throwing the ball?
I want Brady to want to set the single game passing record in New England. I want him to want that. And
517, he was close.
It would be so great. It's tough. I asked you in the break, and I'll ask any of you. When that game happens next week, right? Next week, not this week.
A week from
week. Who will you be rooting for?
It's Brady.
And, the Patriots are in the Bills division, but come on.
It wasn't even that. It wasn't even that.
It's not even that.
Because I think the Bills are winning the division, and honestly, I don't think, like I said yesterday, I don't think the division's going to be as tight as I thought it was. It's all about basically a giant middle finger to the Patriots.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a unit.
He wants this to be Rocky IV, where by the end of it, they're cheering for him.
Well, now they'll cheer for him, right? When he trots out onto the surface there at Gillette before the game, he will get a standing ovation, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if they cheer his touchdown passes. Talk to a Patriots fan. They talk like they won the Super Bowl with Brady winning it.
You think they'll cheer even if he's beating them that day in New England? They'll cheer his touchdown passes.
I don't think they'll cheer at the moment, but like right after, I think there'll be claps of appreciation. Yes.
You had a funny line. I said to Jeremy, we're used to tributes on the video board, like with hockey, right? When the former Sabres, except Jason Pominville, come back, they get tributes on the video board. Lindy Ruff, whatever. And I thought, did they do that in the NFL? Did they do tributes for players coming back? And your line was hilarious. Well, it would take too long for Brady. The tribute would actually be longer than the actual game itself. It'd be a long video. I think that would be, first off, you'd want Brady to go to Bruce Arians and say, we're throwing the ball, and we're throwing the ball, and we're throwing the ball. All those times, right, when New England would be like crushing the Bills or anybody else, and they'd still be having Brady throw the ball in the fourth quarter, you'd basically be asking for that against New England Sunday. I would love, by the way, yes, I would love to see Brady go in there and just destroy the New England Patriots because I think that'd be fun to watch. But you'd also want, Gronkowski is going to be talking to Brady about getting me the ball. Gronkowski will want to have, what's his career high in touchdown catches in a game? Whatever that is, he will want to break that. So Brady can shoot for 555 yards, and then Gronk can go for whatever the heck the number is for most touchdown passes in a game for him or a tight end in NFL history. Very confident, by the way, Tampa will win that game.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll be close. And it would be funny to just watch him go in there and completely destroy the New England Patriots.
I would enjoy that.
Is that a national TV game? I'm assuming it is, right?
I think it's a primetime
Is it a night game?
Yeah.
Good. Well, not good. That means I got to stay up late. That would have been a nice 4:25 game in my world.
It's waiting all day for Sunday night. Is what that
it a Sunday night game?
Sunday night game. Yep.
Yeah, he'll blow them out by halftime. You let me know how the second half plays out.
So coming up at 10 o'clock, we've got Sneaky Joe, right? Joe DiBiase. Did you see his tweet from a little bit ago?
Was this the Mitchell Trubisky, Josh Allen numbers? Yeah.
Joe's profile on Twitter, if he were to be described by any sort of act or whatever, what Joe does is he lights a match and then throws it into a room full of gasoline, and then that's his Twitter feed because people just like, what? For instance, he found this, and this is good. Josh Allen's last 5 games passing. 61% completion, 1,266 yards, 6.2 yards per attempt, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. Mitchell Trubisky's last 5 games, including playoffs. 72% completion, 1,185 yards, 7.4 yards per attempt, 8 touchdowns, 3 picks. Pretty close to the same quarterback in the last 5 games.
So Joe wants the Bills to bench Allen for Trubisky, clearly.
I think what he's trying to do, and he can lay this out a little more 10, I think what he's doing is giving context of, like, if you think Allen hasn't looked right, that's because he's looked like Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
Which, Trubisky's okay, not great.
Yeah.
He had some success.
Well, that's what the second game was.
Yep.
Josh was okay, not great Sunday. First game was bad. The passing offense stunk in the first game. The offensive line was horrible. The pass protection was bad. But the passing game in the second game against Miami was okay. Not great. Made a handful of plays. You didn't really need to make a ton of plays when your defense is pitching a shutout, but it was okay. But, yeah, obviously he's just screwing around with numbers. I don't think he was making a definitive statement on that.
No, but I think it's really important and good context to say, like, if you feel like it hasn't been right, you're correct. It hasn't looked statistically the same like it normally does.
JJ, who are the stats you mentioned?
JJ Zacharyson.
Thank you.
He's on Twitter at Late Round Quarterback about Allen's completion percentage on 15-plus yard throws is worse than not only last year, but the year before.
Right. And you wouldn't be surprised to say, well, guys, of course it's not going to be 2020 high because he had a phenomenal season. But it's worse than where it was in 2019 when we were saying he was trending up from his rookie year. I'll be honest with you. I think it's enough to talk about and go, what the heck is up, guys? Something doesn't seem right. Now, am I freaking out? Am I panicking? Are they going to miss the playoffs? No. They'll still win the division. But in the discussion of how good can this team be, this is not supposed to be, guys, I think they're good enough to win the division. Duh.
Yeah.
This is a different universe this season. This is a weekly discussion. If the whole off season, the brain trust for the football team kept talking about one team. Their offseason plan was about what? Hey, we got to get a pass rush. We got to improve our pass rush. We got to be able to get to Mahomes with 4. Look what Tampa did in the Super Bowl. Everything is not, it's not about being better than New England and New York and Miami. I know the Bills' first stated goal is to make the playoffs. The second stated goal is to win the division. I've heard Brandon Beane say that. You got to, let's be better than New England, Miami, and New York. Okay, you are. I don't think that's a debating point. This season, the discussion is all about, are you with the best in the league? Through the first 2 games, their offense is not good enough to be in the discussion with the best in the league. And again, doesn't make you negative. You're not complaining. Doesn't mean you don't think the Bills are going to win double-digit games and make the playoffs and win the division. But that's not what 2021 is about, internally and externally. in terms of discussion about this team is about each week. Where are you in relation to the best teams in the league? Where are you in relation to Kansas City? Where are you in relation to Tampa? If you'd like to bring in NFC teams in the discussion. Through the first 2 games, the offense is not good enough. It is not in that discussion with those teams. Something is missing in their game. Why and what? Well, I know what. Why? I don't know. But it is a discussion point. And I don't know how much, it could be better the next 2 games. Maybe Diggs all of a sudden explodes and has some big chunk plays and all this other stuff. But, until you beat Kansas City and actually Tennessee too. Tennessee throttled you pretty good last year. Go win one or both of those games would be glorious. Mm-hmm. And then I'll feel like you're in the discussion with the elite again.
Yeah, I mean, you still might be in that discussion, but against them, it hasn't been the same. So,
well, for sure, Kansas City.
Right.
Actually, you know what? Look, they've beaten Tennessee in the past, but they were always low-scoring, sloppy affairs with Mariota, right? Mm-hmm. And then last year, you got your clocks cleaned by them, and the freaky game gets moved all around discussion. Yeah, that's why I think it's the story of the season is about what's up with the passing offense. Have teams figured something else out? Did they watch all this tape, and they watched all the games from last year, and all of a sudden, because it's not different coaches, it's not roster overhaul. You didn't overhaul the offensive line, and they're trying to develop chemistry. None of that stuff happened. There's a different running back in the top 3. There's a different receiver in the top 3. That's it.
One quick thing. I've got a texter connecting with our fans brought to you by Bond, Shenick & King, a full-service Buffalo law firm. I would die on the hill of preseason matters for timing. Have at it. You know what's equally as likely? He got dinged up in that game.
Maybe something is wrong. Who knows?
That's right. Just as likely as he needs timing. Yeah. He didn't need timing last year. Came out of the gate.
You're saying, he could have gotten dinged up in that game.
He could have gotten dinged up in the preseason game. That's just as likely as he needs the timing. Didn't need the timing last year.
Yeah.
Well, the defense got it. I mean, okay, you want to craft all that around some people need it and some people don't. Matthew Stafford doesn't need it. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need it. Did Brady play in the preseason? Maybe. I don't know.
No. Right? Did he? Oh, wait. You know what? He did.
Played a series or 2? I'm
pretty sure. I'll double check it. I'm almost positive Arians played him at some point.
He
you know why? Because remember he said with the extra bye at the end of he didn't want Brady to sit that long without playing, so he put him in at some point in one of the preseason
Again, Josh
games.
Played. Oh, but it needed to be more. Okay. I mean, it just...
Of all the things we can talk about, I don't think it's that. We can bring up crowd noise. You can bring up the contract. You can bring up expectations. It could be, Pittsburgh's, the first 2 defenses. There are so many different things we could discuss in terms of why the plays aren't there through the first 2 games. And I think they're all really valid points. I don't think lack of a preseason is one because the argument goes out the window when you point out a year ago. What happened a year ago? There were no preseason. Nobody played. No defenses played, no offenses played. Nobody played. And they came out, and they were one of the best offensive teams in the league for the first 4 weeks of the season, right? They were putting up 30-plus points on a regular basis. In week 2, they didn't destroy them by final score, but they were just scoring almost at will against the Miami Dolphins in week 2.
It's about timing. Did T.J. Watt play in the preseason? No.
He sat out. That's right. He didn't need the timing. Holding in. He was only working out individually. He didn't even practice in the preseason. Not only not play, he didn't practice in team drills through the whole preseason.
Gronk doesn't watch film.
Yeah. Now you could bring up, I don't know if that's why T.J. Watt has a groin injury in week 2. Maybe because he wasn't in shape. But in terms of timing and rust.
In terms of game speed.
He didn't do anything in the preseason other than individual drills. So I think, like I said, I think you could bring up a whole bunch of different topics for Josh. And it could be, I didn't throw this out there, but could be the offensive line. Maybe they're still coming together. Dawkins had to deal with COVID. He's probably still not at 100%. Ford and Feliciano and Butker were rotating. They were trying to figure out who to play at guard. It looks now like it's going to be Ford 100% of the time because he played every snap in Miami. So maybe, those guys didn't get a lot of snaps in the preseason. Maybe they need to come together, and that's part of the issue with the passing game. Josh isn't comfortable in the pocket because the guys up front are still trying to work on that chemistry and come together. It wasn't good in game 1. They were better as a group in game 2 against a lesser defensive front. So that could be it too. Like I said, you could have easily 5 or 6 reasons to try and talk about what's happened the first 2 games, and I just don't think lack of preseason to me is not on the list because they didn't have it last year. So whatever, and it's not new faces. I think I think they'll be fine. Josh is just, maybe they're just adjusting to something that's happening from the defenses. Maybe they're seeing some things. I know Josh Allen the other day, postgame show, in the postgame interview said maybe he needs to get off his first read a little quicker. Maybe he's locking on to guys just a second or two too long. So I don't think it's a problem that can't be corrected. I think they will be fine eventually. I think he's still a very good quarterback. I think it's an incredibly talented and deep receiving core. I think the offensive line got better from game 1 to game 2, and some of the defenses they're now going to face aren't going to be as good as they faced in the first 2 weeks, so I think they'll be fine. But it makes for fun discussion now, huh? Makes for interesting discussion about what the heck's going on. Sunday, you'll be good. I think Sunday, I'm just watching some of the clips from Washington and the Giants. This is supposed to be one of the better defensive lines they faced this season in Washington. They have not played well in the first 2 games. I thought the Giants did a pretty good job of keeping Chase Young from single-handedly destroying their offensive game plan the other night. If there was a guy who actually was more that you want to worry about, they're Jonathan Allen. They were so hell-bent on chipping and double-teaming Chase Young and Montez Sweat on the other side. They've got 2 really good ends in Washington, by the way. That Jonathan Allen inside was wreaking havoc with Daniel Jones the other day. So this is a good test. This is a good defensive line that has underachieved in Washington's first 2 games. We'll see how the Bills do in terms of pass protection on Sunday and whether Josh feels any more comfortable in the pocket. 803-0550 to join us this morning. 888-550-2550. We are talking Bills football. You can always join in the discussion. You got a question, comment, opinion, great. Anything else you want to get to, that's fine too. We'll talk more Bills football, by the way, when we get back. Murph's going to be with us. Usually on Mondays, we had to reschedule him, so we're going to have him on coming up in the next segment. But you can also call with your questions and comments. Sneaky Joe and the Extra Point Show, of course, coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, 10 to noon, WGR.
There was stories of these girls that would leave his house and they would have to swim out in the lake and get away from them. He has a secret room in his house. He put me in there, she said. I don't want anybody to die anymore. I don't want anybody else to die. I'm looking for Ashley.
Season 3 of Up and Vanished is available right now. Listen for free on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Talking about our mental health has the power to save lives. We witnessed that firsthand with Odyssey's I'm Listening Mental Health Special. Carson Daly, Dr. Alfie, and a cast of generous guests, including Billie Eilish, Imagine Dragons, Lizzo, Justin Bieber, Darius Rucker, and more, shared wonderful insight and tips for coping. If you missed the special or want to hear it again, it's on the Odyssey app and Odyssey.com now. Please remember, you are definitely not alone. Hear I'm Listening now on the Odyssey app.
Hey, I'm Peter Bukowski, host of the Locked On Today podcast. Trying to stay on top of every big story in sports is a full-time job. I know, because it is my full-time job. But it's not yours. That's why we have a network of local experts ready to give you the inside scoop on everything you truly need to know in the sports world. And we do it every day to make sure you're always caught up on the latest and greatest in sports. Listen to the Locked On Today podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
You have to be able to make in-flight adjustments. You've got to be able to win left-handed at times or play left-handed at times and be good enough and execute at a high enough level where you have something else. And I saw some of that today. But again, that's one of the areas we have to be aware of in making sure that we continue to grow, in this case as an offense, but also in all 3 phases.
There's Sean McDermott, post-game Sunday in South Florida.
You just gave me a stat from ESPN Stats and Info that I tweeted out because it's incredible. 11 taunting penalties in the first 2 weeks of this season equals the number from all of last year.
Yeah.
And is 2 more than all of 2019.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Don't you feel better off as a football
I just feel
fan?
great. Feel great.
Sport's much better.
Yeah, much cleaner.
And this morning I shared some of the worst egregious taunting penalties that have been called at WGR550.com. Levi Wallace's penalty from the other day is part of that.
Let me bring in Murph. We can talk more about this too, but let me bring in Murph. He's standing by on our Wester hotline, and John's segment with us brought to you by Sullivan's Brewing Company from Ireland to Buffalo, the best ales in the world, by Dunn Tire, official tire of the Buffalo Bills, and by Northwest Bank, increasing the value of you. Murph, I do not want to hear about you taunting the opposing radio booth at all this season, all right?
No, I wouldn't do that. I like those guys. I really like the Dolphins guys, Jimmy Cephalo and Joe Rose, and they've got Jason Taylor in their group now. Just really good guys. I like working when those guys are in the building.
Murph, we will talk about the offense because the passing game, it just doesn't seem right through the first two games. Certainly better in Miami than it was in Pittsburgh, but give me your thoughts on what you've seen. Maybe you and Eric are seeing, you got the bird's eye view. Maybe are you seeing something the defenses are doing to the passing game any differently or anything like that?
Let me straighten you out first. We do not have a bird's eye view in Miami.
Oh, that's right. You're in the corner. You have that. Is that like the worst broadcast position in the world?
That and Washington probably are, just terrible. You just can't see. I mean, we're on the wrong side of the field. The TV setup is on the other side, so left is right, right is left. I won't go into it, but it's awful. But let me say, I'm not that worried. I mean, look, I'm really not. I think Josh is playing that. He's not putting up numbers like he did last year, but he certainly. I mean, they had 5 touchdowns the other day. They're producing. They played 2 good defenses first 2 weeks, and they scored 5 touchdowns against one of them last Sunday. And look, they're not things of beauty, but that touchdown pass he threw across the field, across his body to Stephon Diggs, that was a sensational play, all ad lib. It was a broken play, and Josh was able to roll to his right, and Diggs, who fell down early in the play, got back up and came towards Josh. It was a great recognition by Josh to see him. And a great throw. I'm not that worried about it. It's not perfect. He'll get better. And we saw last year how he plays when he gets better. But, one of the things I'm encouraged about is how Josh has become more of a leader and not only finding ways to win, but finding ways to get his offense to produce 5 touchdowns last Sunday. I think that's important. So there's no alarm bells going off in my head. I think knowing how hard he works, knowing his physical attributes and how naturally talented he is, I'm confident that when they need him, he'll be there.
I want to ask you about Gabriel Davis. Now, I know he's come off an injury, so maybe that is a bigger part of the discussion of limited snaps for him. And I think also there is a game-specific element. It sounded like Brian Daboll felt they wanted to run the ball a little bit more because they could have success, so less 5-receiver, 4-receiver sets. Having said that, Murph, is there a way they can get Gabriel Davis more involved in the passing game because he showed so much promise as a rookie? And I know he's basically number 4 on the depth chart.
Yeah, they can, and they will. And, I think he was involved in the Pittsburgh game. And look, the one point you made, and I think you're absolutely right about, is their offense was out of whack in the first game, Pittsburgh, they had to throw it because they fell behind late in the game, but they don't want to throw it that much. It was a 2-to-1 edge, passes to runs in the Pittsburgh game. It evened out this past week. Now, I don't know if it'll always be that even. I think they are a predominant passing team, but they need to have an effective running game, and they did against the Dolphins, with Singletary, 82 yards, and Moss scored a couple of touchdowns. I still think there's a bigger role for Matt Breida to play. So I think they were looking for a little bit more balance passing and running in the Miami game. They got it, and it helps to get an early lead when you can run the ball and try to burn some clock a little bit. But as far as Gabriel Davis, again, he was banged up. I'm not worried about him either, by the way. I think he'll have a role to play. He'll be an important part of their offense as probably, the third option in the passing game, second or third. And many times he'll be the number 1 option on a week-to-week basis.
Murph with us on the Wester Hotline. The defense had about as dominating a performance as they could have. And I don't know how much. Well, let me ask you this. Would anything have been different if Tua doesn't get knocked out after the second series? We'll start there.
No. I mean, I don't think the Dolphins would have done much with Tua either. And, I don't mean to be Captain Sunshine here this morning, but the defense is playing great. For 2 weeks now, the defense has been good. They've allowed just 1 touchdown, obviously. They have, I think they're discovering how good their defense could be, how much pass rush they can get. I think they got a great pass pressure last 2 days ago without really blitzing that often. I think they really didn't have to blitz that much. They were getting such great work from the front four guys. So I think the sky's the limit. We'll see. I think there's, it's so early in the season, Howard. I feel like both offensively, but especially defensively, they're still testing things and seeing what they have and seeing what works for the group. And no, to answer your question, I don't think Tua would have made much of a difference at all. I find the Dolphins I'm worried about, not Tua and his physical status, because that's something to worry about, but long term, if he's the answer, I think they have some serious questions to answer. And if he's going to be out for a while, they won't have a chance to do more evaluation of him.
Yeah, I think, honestly, we were saying if you're a Dolphin fan coming out of that game, you got to be pretty deflated, because, the whole thing last year, with the playoff spot on the line and they get blown out and the starters are pulled at halftime by the Bills and you still get destroyed in that game. Your first chance to see them back, you come off a win in New England and you get blown out at home by the Bills again. And Murph, their offensive line was awful. I mean, they really I like the talent, although Fuller would have helped. I like the talent they have in their passing game in terms of their targets, but man, their offensive line was just horrible against the Bills.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll tell you, I know they won at New England week 1. They beat them. I watched that game twice last week.
Yeah.
I think New England outplayed them. I think New England's a better team, and I certainly think New England has a better option at quarterback. If I'm the Patriots, I'm getting excited about the potential that Mac Jones has, and I don't see that in Tua. Yeah, I think the Dolphins are really in trouble. I really do. And I know they won 10 games a year ago, and they've got a good, solid defense. And I think that, Brian Flores has an idea of what he wants to do, but I just don't know if they've got the cast of characters to pull off what they're trying to do. I'd be worried if I were a Dolphins fan.
A little bit on the Bills' defense before we let you go. And I mean, it's not exactly a landmark statement to say Matt Milano's really good. But, Murph, I think to be able to watch this guy play on an every-game basis, we already knew his value to this defense and when he's out, what it means. But to see him again Sunday and to see whatever they need him to do, whether it's coverage, whether it's chase down a guy from behind, whether it's line up, come as a blitzer. I mean, it's so much fun to watch this guy play every game, every snap because of the overall ability in his game.
Yeah, what you're talking about, I think, is versatility, and that's the thing that Matt Milano brings. He's not just a pass rusher. He's not just a run stuffer. He's not just a guy who's good in coverage. He can do everything and do them all pretty well. I think there's a benefit. I know there's a benefit to being around the same team and the same defensive system for a couple of years now, right? It is his 4th year and basically, almost all 4 years as a starter. And there's a benefit to that, and they're getting it. And I think that goes for other players on the defense, too, who are in the same system, the same defensive system under Leslie Frazier, understanding how the defense works. Frazier can throw different wrinkles in because his guys are so familiar with what he's trying to do. I think the Bills are really reaping the benefits of having the same defensive coaching staff and generally the same personnel around for a couple of years in a row.
And the other thing I want to ask you, obviously the two young defensive ends, I mean, A.J. Epinesa looked so fast and was just almost unstoppable at times on the edge. And, of course, the more we watch Greg Rousseau, the better that draft pick appears to be.
Yeah, more benefits again for being around a while. And there are others, too. I mean, I think in a limited role, Justin Zimmer played really well, in the middle of the defensive line. Again, because they're all so familiar with how the defense works and what they're asked to do, I think the Bills get a whole lot out of that. And, I mean, it's really fun to watch Russo kind of explode in his first couple of games. And who knows, right? The sky's the limit for him. And Epinesa, who has managed to transform his body after a year, and was kind of up and down last year in terms of the type of player they wanted him to be. It's great to see him settle in and make plays. It kind of validates their decision to make him their first pick a year ago.
Hey, I forgot to ask Sal, so I just remembered I want to bring this up too, and I didn't get to it with him since you were in Miami. I don't need an exact number, but how many Bills fans were there? What was the crowd like in terms of their showing?
Yeah, it was strong. I mean, when the game began, I would say, I'm guessing here, I'm just spitballing, but 30% of the crowd was Buffalo fans. When the game ended, 90% of the crowd was Buffalo fans because they all left,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not great fans, I don't think, in Miami. And if it's hot and muggy, which it was, and if it rained and it poured, and if the Dolphins are getting shut out, they find other things to do, time to get on the boat. But, it was pretty impressive. It's always one of the strongest showings of Bills fans. it certainly felt that way Sunday.
All right. Murph, as always, thanks. And we will talk to you Friday and talk a little bit about the Washington football team with you.
Okay, looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thanks, Murph. John Murphy's segment here on WGR, brought to you by Sullivan's Brewing Company from Ireland to Buffalo, the best ales in the world, by Dunn Tire, official tire of the Buffalo Bills, and by Northwest Bank, increasing the value of you. It is let me check real quick. I did not check with Patrick Hammer yet to see what the weather was going to be like for Sunday.
Oh, interesting. You're going to ask a meteorologist about that?
Yeah.
But yet you dispute meteorological fall. And you subscribe to astronomical fall.
I am not disputing meteorological fall, but by the calendar that by the autumnal equinox or whatever equinox. This is fall tomorrow.
By the astronomical calendar tomorrow.
Not astrological calendar?
No, that's Pisces and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Capricorn, Gemini, right.
Astronomy is stars. Astrology is Pisces.
There is an astronomical, astronomical to me thought, wow, that's a really cool calendar.
Wait, astrological falls.
That's why I'm asking, right, isn't astronomical really impressive? You're telling me it's a really cool calendar.
What I'm trying to tell you is that fall starts September 1st.
Okay, but we still have the
that is
other equinox.
If you observe astronomical fall.
So by astronomical fall,
it starts today.
Tomorrow, actually, right?
Tomorrow
afternoon at 3:20.
But by meteorological fall,
it started
September 1st. And I'm interested, you want to know the weather, but you're not going to look if we're asking an astronomist about that. Huh?
I thought it was Labor Day, by the way.
It's a little fuzzy.
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend. We say, I know it's September on the calendar, but since you're an astronomy person, is it Virgo? That's astrology. That's doing calendars by the stars, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
You can see Jupiter in the sky.
I'm still screwing up astrology and astronomy. Astronomy is the stars. Astrology is the Pisces stuff.
I just want to know what the weather was like for people who are going to the game on Sunday.
I think it's going to be nice.
It's, according to Channel 2's app, cloudy with a few showers, 30% chance of a drizzle, with a high of 66 on Sunday.
Oh, perfect.
So there you go. There's your fall forecast for Sunday.
Thank you. Yes. I'm just here to help everyone understand that they taught you for some reason incorrectly that fall starts after fall actually starts. No one says on June 19th, what a beautiful spring day.
So then winter starts December 1st?
December 1st.
And what is it, March 1st for spring?
Yep.
Okay. And
you just know it because
summer starts at Memorial Day.
These are the seasons,
right?
And technically, meteorological summer starts May 1st, which is basically Memorial Day. Anyway,
see, that's right. It is May 1st, but Memorial Day is the end of the month. See, that's summer for me is Memorial Day weekend. That's when it starts.
June,
and
July,
it ends
August.
Labor Day weekend.
Summer is June, July, August.
Right. Basically, yes. Don't yell at me.
I'm not yelling.
Yes, you're yelling at me. Anyway,
when do kids go back to school? Nobody says they go back to school in the summer. They go back to school in the fall, September 1st. Society has moved on from these horrible things we were taught about seasons.
I'm trying to go back to your school argument, but I guess I understand what you're saying now. Honestly, I was just trying to accomplish two things. One, check the weather for Sunday and let you know we have the game on WGR. It's a 1 o'clock game. Our coverage begins at 7, Breakfast with Bills. That's all I was trying to do.
All right.
Extendo Sports coming back when we get back. Hey, are you going to try out for the Bills fan role that they're looking for? Did you see the story about Bills fans, people? Huh? Your chance to jump through a table and make money? All right, we'll tell you about that in a moment.
Talking about our mental health has the power to save lives. We witnessed that firsthand with Odyssey's I'm Listening mental health special. Carson Daly, Dr. Alfie, and a cast of generous guests, including Billie Eilish, Imagine Dragons, Lizzo, Justin Bieber, Darius Rucker, and more, shared wonderful insight and tips for coping. If you missed the special or want to hear it again, it's on the Odyssey app and Odyssey.com now. Please remember, you are definitely not alone. Hear I'm Listening now on the Odyssey app.
There was stories of these girls that would leave his house and they would have to swim out in the lake and get away from them. He has a secret room in his house. He put me in there, she said. I don't want anybody to die anymore. I don't want anybody else to die. I'm looking for Ashley.
Season 3 of Up and Vanished is available right now. Listen for free on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Peter Bukowski, host of the Locked On Today podcast. Trying to stay on top of every big story in sports is a full-time job. I know, because it is my full-time job. But it's not yours. That's why we have a network of local experts ready to give you the inside scoop on everything you truly need to know in the sports world, and we do it every day to make sure you're always caught up on the latest and greatest in sports. Listen to the Locked On Today podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
Breaking sports news airs first here. Guaranteed. WGR Sports Radio 550. 2020 Sports.
Extendo Sports.
Oh, well, whenever the fall begins, it is the elite season. And you go to the website, 26shirts.com/fall-is-elite.
Mm-hmm.
3 designs. That's right. 3 different designs. The classic Falls Elite hoodie, T-shirt, men's, women's, unisex, onesies. We got onesies now.
Is that done just for you?
I don't know. I worked with Del Reed and the folks over there at 26 Shirts. When I clicked on it and saw onesies, he said, yeah, it seems like we should have onesies. So we have 3 different designs. We got onesies. We got all this. Anyway, anything you purchase, $10 of every purchase goes to the Western New York Perinatal Bereavement Network. So we've launched the Fall is Elite hoodies and shirts and all that. We did last year. Last year raised a crazy amount of money, more than we ever hoped we could, for the Perinatal Bereavement Network, and doing it again. So you'll hear a lot of it from me. I'll be tweeting a lot of links. I already ordered some onesies for the twins. There's one with a beautiful artistic leaf. Then there's just the standard stock Fall is Elite. There's one with a trophy for the elite season.
I know, I'm trying to find. I'm at the website. I got to find it.
But it works, right? 26shirts.com/fall-is-elite. That'll do it.
Ah, that's why. Okay.
What'd you do?
I just went to their general website.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. Dell's mad at me again, so.
Is it about Pick the Bills?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you two are always fighting about
Was
that.
it Fall is Elite after the hashtag?
That's
Or
right.
they
Fall
slash?
is Elite.
Yeah, he's mad at me. Although he tweeted me a stat, and I forgot that he was actually wrong. But he's still angry at me for picking them to lose to New Orleans and Jameis Winston on Thanksgiving night. He's not really handling that very well. And then he tweeted some stat about how the Bills are unbeaten on Thanksgiving, and I forgot I was at a game where they lost on Thanksgiving in 1994. I think they won in 76. They won the game in Dallas with Josh, but they lost in 94 to the Lions in Detroit for Thanksgiving. So, those are...
So you have three different designs.
Which one do I want? Well, I mean, I don't think fall is the elite season every year, so I can't get that one. I like the one with the leaf and the different colors.
Yeah, the design team went to work.
That's nice. I like that. I like the variety of colors in that. I do. I think, leaves changing color, fall, everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty sweet. Hey, Casting Buffalo has placed an ad on Facebook. They want actors to play a role in a new Amazon commercial, and they're casting for a variety of Bills fans roles, from young and to old. One of those involves stunt work as a table jumper. You boys in? Brayton's nodding his head yes. Listed in the description for a table jumper, quote, a diehard fan, eccentric, goofy, all they care about is the Buffalo Bills winning. Experience in table jumping is encouraged. The person will have one line. Stat that.
Last minute of pay in the show.
The pay is $550.
These pretzels are making me thirsty. Stat that.
Don't improvise. Stat that. Actually, there's multiple A's. So it's stat that. The pay is $550 for 12 hours of work. Video auditions are part of the application. Do either of you have table jumping experience?
Listen, I've heard a lot of reports about Amazon's working conditions, so I mean, there are a lot of reports out there about that stuff.
No? Anybody? Table jumping experience? Brayton? Jeremy, never at Syracuse? Did you ever
I've never
go on a binge and jump through a table?
I've jumped onto a table, but never through a table.
I've jumped off a table, but
I've
not
probably
through
jumped
one.
off.
I've seen people doing it with their babies. Have the twins table jumped yet?
No, there's been no
Not
breaking
yet?
of tables.
At a
no.
tailgate this year at some point?
No.
All right, just curious. Brayton, nothing? You never went on got a little too into the moonshine and the hinterlands and the sun? No? Okay. Joe DiBiase is coming up next. We're back tomorrow morning at 6. Have yourselves a glorious day.
I'm Erin Ryan, political commentator, comedy writer, and host of Crooked Media's Hysteria.
And I'm co-host Alyssa Mastromonaco, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff for President Obama.
Each week on Hysteria, we are joined by a team of hilariously opinionated ladies to discuss the headlines from the serious to the absurd.
We cover everything from reproductive rights to rom-coms and break down the political news of the week and cultural stories that affect women's lives.
New episodes of Hysteria drop every Thursday. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Peter Bukowski, host of the Locked On Today podcast. Trying to stay on top of every big story in sports is a full-time job. I know, because it is my full-time job. But it's not yours. That's why we have a network of local experts ready to give you the inside scoop on everything you truly need to know in the sports world. And we do it every day to make sure you're always caught up on the latest and greatest in sports. Listen to the Locked On Today podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts.
Talking about our mental health has the power to save lives. We witnessed that firsthand with Odyssey's I'm Listening mental health special. Carson Daly, Dr. Alfie, and a cast of generous guests, including Billie Eilish, Imagine Dragons, Lizzo, Justin Bieber, Darius Rucker, and more, shared wonderful insight and tips for coping. If you missed the special or want to hear it again, it's on the Odyssey app and Odyssey.com now. Please remember, you are definitely not alone. Hear I'm Listening now on the Odyssey app.